Hello and welcome to Mente de Madre Leona. Thank you so much for joining me here today. This is Christina. Today I wanted to talk to you guys about my journey from the ketogenic diet to the carnivore diet. This is just a snapshot of part of my transition in going from paleo diet to vegetarian diet to vegan diet, then keto, then carnivore, and then next week I'm going to talk a little bit about the ketovore diet and kind of where I am at today and why I have come to the place in my health and wellness in my life and what's working well for me. And I share all of this with you because what I think so often happens, at least I know this happened for me and I know it does happen for other people, is we see like people really pushing the paleo diet, especially celebrities. They'll push a particular thing and because it works for them, and that's awesome. But then we kind of buy into it that, well, if it works for them or whoever, friends, family, that it's got to work for us. And so I became a person that was thinking, well, if it's not working for me, it's because I'm doing something wrong, instead of this isn't for me, move on to something else. And so I would make myself very upset and miserable and stressed out because I was trying so hard to make this thing work when it wasn't working. So I gave everything that I had to the vegetarian diet and the vegan diet and paleo. And I was very adamant about cooking at home and using organic, non-GMO foods, buying really high quality foods. I would spend hours and many days in my week just going from health food store to health food store, trying to get all of the ingredients that I needed for whatever meals I was making. And, with all of these types of diets, especially the vegan diet and vegetarian diet, so often there are things that say, oh, this is vegan, so people will eat it, and never mind that it has 45 grams of sugar in it, whatever it may be. I'll see like ice creams. Oh, it's a vegan ice cream. But then you turn it over and it's full of sugar. Well, it doesn't have dairy in it, but if you're not allergic to dairy, then what's the problem? But the problem is you're getting a ton of sugar. So I really did try very hard to avoid all of those things that were prepackaged, had a tremendous amount of sugar in them, and tried to cook, all kinds of baked goods with, all of the crazy ingredients. And I tried it all. There were so many failures, and with keto as well. I was adamant that I would learn how to make good tasting food, including desserts. And so it was definitely almost a scientific experiment when you're trying to use all of these special ingredients to try to replicate anything from just the standard American diet. And what I've really learned is that you just got to find things that really make you feel good, and then you'll crave those things and you'll enjoy those things instead of trying to replicate the things that we just ate when we were not concerned about how much sugar, bad oils, etc. we were bringing into our bodies. So the ketogenic diet, I was an avid reader of Dr. Mercola's email newsletter. Every morning I would wake up and I would read his newsletter with my coffee. And this was when my second daughter was very, very small, and I had just gotten past going gluten-free. That is not a win-all solution. It's okay, but that doesn't solve any solutions, because it's still, things can be full of sugar and full of carbs and full of bad oils, but they can be gluten-free. So I had begun reading his newsletter, and I was still doing, the vegetarian diet and the vegan diet. And he started talking about a new book that he was coming out with, Dr. Mercola, and it was called Fat for Fuel. And he kept promoting this book that was coming out. And so finally I was just like, I've got to know what this book is, because I am failing at the vegetarian diet, and then the vegan diet and the paleo diet was less difficult than those two diets. My stomach problems were just horrendous. If you listen to my podcast about juicing, that was during that time. So I was in and out of the bathroom all of the time, super low energy, couldn't understand because I'm putting live, fresh food, and I was spending tremendous amounts of money going to Whole Foods and natural grocers and all of the really nice, good places. I was going to farmers markets, and avoiding the pretend people that didn't actually grow their food that were there. And it just wasn't working. So after beating my head on a wall and wasting a tremendous amount of time and money, I ordered his book on pre-order, got it in the mail, and I was super excited to dive into the book. Got into it, and I was like, man, this makes sense. He's talking about things that actually could work for me. But I was also very confused about a lot of the terms he was using. Like, I'd never heard of MCT oil. I mean, where do you even buy it? And he's talking about macros and micros and, testing for your ketones. And so I got really intimidated. But I told my husband, you're not doing good. I'm not doing good. We've got to get over this whole vegan thing, and we've got to move on to something better. I want to eat meat and dairy again because avoiding those things has done no good. A year and a half of doing that, and it has not brought me any kind of progress. So he agreed we were going to take the leap to do the ketogenic diet, and we didn't know what that meant. We just knew we were going to go at it with everything we had. And at that moment, we had a very short break in between one huge job that we had and another job. And so we went up to see my family in New York, and the entire drive back to Oklahoma from New York, we listened to people on YouTube talking about the ketogenic diet. And so we mostly were listening to Thomas DeLauer. Still, I'm a huge fan of his today. He is just an amazing resource of breaking things down into terms that you can understand, but also talking about the science and why things work. And he's just a shining example of why the ketogenic diet is amazing, and it works for so many, many people. And if you don't know, the ketogenic diet has been around for many, many decades. It's been used to treat patients who have certain types of seizures. It can be helpful for some children and adults with autism and some different types of illnesses, especially I think like diabetes can really benefit from it. Again, because you are lowering the amount of sugar that's put in the body. A lot of times, at least when I started keto, there were not the processed and packaged foods for the keto diet, so it was easy to avoid those types of things. So on this trip back from New York, we learned a tremendous amount. We ordered our pee strips that you got to pee on in the first little bit that you're going into ketosis. Those work for testing if you have ketones in your urine. We ordered the breathalyzer that can test for ketones on your breath. And at that time, there was only one on the market. Now, there's every knockoff you can imagine on Amazon. So we got those. We were very concerned about our HDL and LDL blood levels. Would they go into a bad area? Because we believed all of the mythology about cholesterol and eating meat and dairy was just going to be so bad for us. And maybe for some people that's true. But actually, as we went through a year and a half of being completely devoted to keto, 100%, our levels dropped. So that was a pretty big deal. And we were doing the keto diet mostly just for health reasons. I wanted to get in better shape. I wanted to lose weight, but I didn't have a tremendous amount to lose. And most people would have looked at me and laughed and said, why were you even trying to lose any weight? But I wanted to be a stronger, healthier person. So my husband definitely wanted to lose some weight and gain his strength back, increase testosterone levels, even out his moods, get more energy. And so we jumped in, and we did have some benefits. I definitely got the keto flu right away. If you are going to do keto, or you've been off keto for a long time and you're going to start it again, don't go at it cold turkey. That is the number one way you can get the keto flu. I went cold turkey after having been a vegan, which those fruits and vegetables, man, are they packed with a lot of sugar. And you can argue with me all day about if it's good sugar, bad sugar. Regardless, going from having that every day to not having it, period, my body went berserk. And I mean, the vomiting ensued. And I am not a person that vomits ever. So this was very, very unusual. Another thing you can do is when you start going into ketosis is make sure that you stay really well hydrated. You can put some of the pink Himalayan salt into your water, just a little bit, and that really can help you stay hydrated, because your body will start flushing a whole lot of fluids out. So I initially lost 7 pounds when I began keto. And so for my body size, that was a huge amount of weight. My husband definitely lost a lot of weight too, initially. And that was a really, really good benefit. So we went on doing keto, but my husband was always adamant, you got to have fiber, you got to have salad. So, and many of the people that I listen to say you've got to have fiber, you've got to have salad. So I was continuing to make salads with every single meal. And lo and behold, my husband got a very bad bout of kidney stones. And my stomach was not healing. Even though I was having definitely better energy, I was feeling better overall. When I would eat the salad, whether it be kale, spinach, whatever, I would get sick. That's just the end of the story. I would get sick. And so my husband gets these kidney stones, and we go to the urologist, and he was a really awesome young urologist. And he said, what do you eat a lot of? And we were telling him about the ketogenic diet, but that we still ate a lot of spinach and kale. And he said, well, kidney stones are often caused by having large amounts of spinach. And when I say large amounts, my husband was eating, if you go to Walmart and you buy those pre-packages, the square plastic packages of spinach, the pre-washed organic non-GMO, they have like the larger size, like the family size. He was eating a minimum of one of those a day, minimum. So he was really trying to be healthy. And so the doctor was like, yeah, just stop doing that and you'll never get these again. So this is numerous years later. He's never had another kidney stone, and he doesn't eat spinach like that anymore. He doesn't eat it at all now. So we really like the keto diet, but I found that once I started adding back in my intermittent fasting, which I talked about not too long ago, my stomach problems definitely lowered because my body was having time to recover from each time I was unknowingly inflicting pain upon my body. But I dropped my body fat percentage drastically. So it wasn't keto that caused that amazing result for me. It was the intermittent fasting. And many, many people find that keto and intermittent fasting together are amazing. And if you are looking for something like that, it is so, so good, because on keto, you're eating things that are a lot higher in fat, so you stay full longer. So intermittent fasting is a very easy thing to do because you're not even hungry. You're not even ready to eat. So you are able to go those longer periods of time, and many people will eat just one meal a day. So of course, they're going to lose weight. And they're going to lose those body fat percentages. Those are going to go down. Visceral fat is going to go down. They're going to feel better. And when you lose excess fat, your health is going to improve. So the problem became that my husband got some tests done. We were trying to figure out why he wasn't feeling better. And it turns out that he was allergic to almost everything that we were eating except for dairy and meat and a few of the nuts. And so I said, I've been looking and I see this carnivore diet. I think we should try that out, because apparently There are a lot of people who are allergic to vegetables. I'm not alone in this. I really believe that I was alone in being allergic to vegetables. And my husband thought I was crazy. He was like, you've got to have fiber. You will have no vitamins and minerals if you don't have vegetables. All these different things. And anyone I talked to about the carnivore diet, they literally laughed in my face. Like, that would be just crazy. So a large amount of time, at least a year passed, and my husband was still not feeling well. And he came across the carnivore diet again on his own. And at that point, he said to me, I've got to try this. I know it sounds crazy, but it makes actual sense, and what you're telling me makes sense. And the very day that he told me that was the day that my son stopped breastfeeding. And so I said, let me do the carnivore diet with you. I've got nothing to lose other than stomach aches. And I was very concerned with stopping breastfeeding after 2 full years, that I would suddenly get acne, my hormones would not balance properly, I could have depression, all these different things that when you stop breastfeeding can start happening again. And the carnivore diet, because you're not eating all of the sugars and things that can cause problems, your body is able to regulate itself. And we did some more research, and we were shocked to find out how many vitamins and minerals are in meats and dairy and eggs. We love eggs. So we went on our path and we did this. My husband lost 25 pounds almost overnight without even trying, and he never skipped a meal. He was never hungry, ever. And I never had a problem. I never got acne. My stomach problems for the first time in my entire life were gone for good. So that is huge. And I tell you what, though, I cheated and I ate a sweet potato at a family dinner, and I thought I was going to die. I was in so much pain. And the other day, I saw one of these little protein oatmeal recipes, and I thought, well, let me try that. Surely oatmeal won't upset my stomach. And I got so sick, I missed an entire night of sleep because I ate that oatmeal. It wasn't the protein that I put in there, because I eat the protein all the time and it was fine. But it goes to show that some people are unable to process some of the foods that other people are. So for some people, being a vegan is what they're going to thrive on. Being a paleo person is what some people will thrive on. And some people keto, and some people carnivore. And so you've got to find what works for you. But it's just shocking to look at the carnivore diet and the results in me and my husband, because my husband is sleeping through the night now. He has stable mood, stable energy, so many things that I can't even begin to list off to you. His blood sugar levels, we also check our blood sugar levels. We have the diabetic testing strips, and we both check our levels. And he was very high up there when we started the carnivore diet. And his levels have dropped significantly since then and have stayed low. And we do think that he was probably pre-diabetic. His mother passed away from diabetes. So it is, in the family, and something we're very conscious of. So I would really encourage you, if you have tried other things and it hasn't worked, check out the carnivore diet. There's an amazing doctor. His name is Dr. Ken Berry. On my blog, I'm going to put a link to his YouTube Beginner's Guide to Carnivore. Check it out. His wife is amazing too. She is a nurse, and she talks a lot about keto, carnivore, and ketovore. And they also do these awesome sessions. I don't know if it's once or twice a week, especially because the wife is going to have a baby with sometime in the next few months. I'm not really sure how far along she is in her pregnancy, but they've got a lot on their plate. So I don't know how much they're doing this now, but they do these live question and answer sessions, and you can get right on there and ask them, or somebody else might ask the question that you have about carnivore, ketovore, and keto, and why they work, what you're doing, and how it's working for you, and if you need help. And it's their mission. It's incredible what these people are doing. I really, really love watching them. So next week, I will talk to you guys about Ketovore and where I'm at on that. But again, carnivore was just something that I literally never had heard of before until I started thinking, am I the only one in the world that can't eat vegetables? And it turns out, if you look it up, there's a bunch of science behind it. A lot of vegetables have some sort of substances to protect themselves. And just like animals have certain defense mechanisms, well, these vegetables do, especially the nightshade vegetables. And so a lot of people, when those get into their gut, they get very bloated, gassy, and diarrhea and all of that, all the unpleasantness. On the carnivore diet, never once was my stomach bloated, ever. Never. And my husband the same. No gas, no nothing, which you would think, if you have never been on a meat and dairy diet, you would think quite the opposite, because we've always been told, oh, meat sits in your belly for 7 days and doesn't digest and all of this. Well, if you listen to Dr. Berry, he dispels a lot of these old wives' tales. So my husband and I also, our blood levels have all been very, very good. So definitely really check it out if you have tried other things and you're looking for something new. It's really amazing to, Dr. Berry talks a lot about how people with autoimmune disorders, and that's an umbrella that is huge. How many of those people, including diabetics too, I know that's not an autoimmune disorder, but can be cured of their problems by going on a carnivore diet. And there is a very wide range of what people believe is a carnivore diet. Some people will only eat beef with salt on it. That's one level. Then there's other people that eat beef, chicken, poultry, fish, honey. They'll throw in a little bit of berries. It's a much more easy thing. And they have the eggs and the cream and the milk and cheese. So you can figure out, if you are allergic to dairy, you can still do carnivore. You just avoid the dairy. So guys, I'm sorry to have rambled on for so long. I will have the blog up here shortly with Dr. Berry in there, and I had linked Thomas DeLauer, one of his videos on last week's blog, so you can also just get to it from there. They're both amazing resources with amazing things to share with you. So guys, I really hope that you have a blessed day wherever you are. Please release that inner lioness so you can pursue your passions. And when you get healthy inside, mentally, physically, and spiritually, you are able to do so much more and pursue those dreams and those goals. I look forward to talking to y'all soon. Bye.